Hello, my name is Emma, and in today's video, I am going to teach you how to be better at conversation and speaking, okay? So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to become better at conversation with a technique. We call the technique FORD or Ford. This technique will really help you if you're shy, if when you meet people for the first time, you don't know what to say, if you feel very uncomfortable at parties or in meetings or any social events. This is a great technique. Even if you're amazing at socializing, this video can still really help you even improve more than what you already can do. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is we use Ford as a way of small talk. So what is small talk? Okay, small talk is the type of conversation we have with people we don't know well or strangers. So you might make small talk with your neighbors. You might make small talk with your boss, with your colleagues. Maybe if you're, going to a coffee shop, you might make small talk with the store clerk. So you make small talk with people you don't know well, and it's just a way to make people feel comfortable in conversation and to create a connection with people. A lot of conversation is small talk. If anyone has ever talked to you about the weather, sports, all sorts of different topics, these are usually small talk topics. So again, you might make small talk at parties, in elevators, at meetings. Even if you're taking English classes, you will probably make small talk there as well. So, how do we get good at small talk? What do we talk about when we don't know what to talk about? Well, that's where Ford comes in. Ford is a technique which will help you know what to talk about when you really have no idea. So maybe this has been you before, okay? Maybe this is you. What should I talk about? Or, maybe it's just a bunch of question marks. I don't know what to say. It's totally silent. It's awkward. So how can we fix this situation? Well, Ford stands for 4 things. F stands for family. You can talk about family, and I'm going to give you some great questions you can use to ask about somebody's family. O stands for occupation or job. I'm going to give you some great questions about occupation that you can ask somebody you don't know well to keep the conversation going. R stands for recreation. This is like hobbies, sports, movies, Netflix, TV. Okay, so I'm going to give you some great questions for hobbies or recreation. And finally, D stands for dreams. This is when you ask somebody about their future goals or something they want to do. Dreams does not mean when you go to sleep. If you have some weird dream and you share it with somebody, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your dreams in life. What are your goals? Okay. So using the Ford technique will make you better at small talk. So now let's look at some specific questions you can ask when you're socializing with somebody who you don't know that well. Okay, so again, the F in Ford stands for family. Family is a great thing to talk about, but remember to keep it light and easy, okay? You want to talk about things people are comfortable with. So don't ask them any private questions, like, oh, is it true so-and-so cheated on so-and-so? No. Keep it light, simple, and easy. And also share about your own family too, okay? That's also very important. You don't want to sound like the FBI interrogating somebody. You want to have a conversation. So each time they say something, you can say something about yourself. So keep it kind of balanced. Okay, so one easy question you can talk about. Where are you from originally? Okay, where are you from? Are you from Toronto? Are you from Tokyo? Are you from Istanbul? Where are you from? This question is great because you can really talk about the difference between your cities and maybe some of your experiences growing up. Similarly, where did you grow up? A lot of people have moved a lot. So maybe they were born in this city, then they moved to Mexico, and then they moved here. So that's also another interesting question. Do you still have family there? Do you still have family in Tokyo? Do you still have family in Istanbul? Okay. How did you meet your boyfriend? How did you meet your girlfriend? How did you meet your husband, your wife, your partner? Okay, even your friend. So this is a great question because it makes the other person tell a story. And usually the stories are quite interesting, So this will make the conversation a bit longer, which is good. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Do you come from a big family or a small family? Okay, this is a great opener because then people can talk about their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, what it's like to grow up in a big family, or maybe they grew up in a small family. And you can compare your stories. If you grew up in a small family, maybe you always wondered what it was like to grow up in a big family, or vice versa. So it's a great way to show similarities and differences. How is your family? So if you've met the person before, you can ask them this. How's your family? How are they doing? If the person has children, people love talking about their kids usually. How are your children? Okay, how are your children doing? How old are your children? These questions are really good to ask. Finally, some people might not have children, or maybe, maybe they have different types of family. Maybe you're on an elevator with somebody and you see they have a dog. People also love talking about their pets, and pets are family too. So feel free to ask about, what's your dog's name? How old's your dog? All of these are really good questions to ask. Okay, so now let's look at the O, which stands for occupation. Okay, so O, occupation. What is occupation? Well, usually when we talk about occupation, we're talking about jobs or careers, or sometimes even education. It's pretty much what you're doing to either make money or, towards a career, although it doesn't always have to be. So we like to talk about occupation because people know about what they're doing. They know about their job. They know about what they're studying. So it's good because it makes the person comfortable with a comfortable topic. So again, that's the purpose of small talk. We're trying to keep the person feeling comfortable. Now, the question I like to ask people the most is not, what is your job? Because sometimes people don't have a job, or sometimes they're between jobs. Sometimes, it happened to me once, the person had just lost their job that day, and it was a very awkward, not comfortable discussion after that. So what I prefer to ask people is, what is or what's keeping you busy these days? This gives the person the freedom to talk about what they really want to talk about. Maybe they have a lot to say about work. Maybe they don't have a job. So maybe they'd rather talk about a project they're working on, or something interesting they're doing with their time. Or, if they're in school, maybe they want to talk about their course. So I think this is actually the best small talk question. What's keeping you busy these days? And after they, talk about what's keeping them busy, you can ask a follow-up question. Oh, that's interesting. How did you get involved with that? Or how did you get started in that? If it's work, how did you get involved in that with that company? Okay, so this is a good follow-up question. You can also, if they are talking about their job, you can ask them, how long have you been in your field? Maybe they've been doing what they're doing for 5 years or 10 years, okay? So you can ask more questions about their job. What's the best part of your job? Or if they're a student, what's the best part of, your course? What do you like the best? Okay, so it's good to get people to talk about what they really like. Okay, this is very, very important. In Western culture, we do not like talking about money. In other cultures, it's okay, but in Western culture, it's considered impolite or a little rude. So if somebody tells you, oh, yes, I'm a doctor, and you really want to know, well, how much money do you make? You cannot ask that, okay? So no questions on money, no questions on salary. Even if you really want to know, you can't really ask that. So again, no talk on money or salary. Okay, great. So now let's look at the R from Ford, recreation. Okay, so recreation. When we talk about recreation, what we're really talking about is things we do for fun. Usually hobbies, interests, anything you really like to do for fun. So the key here is when you talk about recreation, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to find similarities with the other person. Okay, so for example, if you like soccer or football, does the other person like that too? If you really like Game of Thrones and you're, really watching it all the time, does this other person have that similarity? Are they the same? How are you similar? So this is great for really bringing people together. A lot of the times people really like talking about their interests and hobbies, so this can get somebody to open up. Okay, so the question I would ask is, so what do you do for fun? Okay, this leaves it wide open. And the person might say, oh, I like sailing. I love watching soccer. I'm a huge soccer fan. Okay, and then you can ask them a bunch of follow-up questions and keep the conversation going. You can ask them, do you play any sports? Have you seen any good movies recently? Or any good TV shows? I know in Canada, people really like talking about Netflix, as well as, different TV shows and movies. It comes up a lot in conversation. So, if you're in Canada, this is a really good one to use. And I think US and many other places too. You can also ask another follow-up question. Oh, you like snowboarding. How did you become interested in that? Tell me the story. How did you become interested in snowboarding? You can talk about music. Did you hear Radiohead's new album? Did you hear Drake's new album, Taylor Swift? Okay, so you can talk about music. There's so many different things you can talk about. One tip about this, though. Think about, remember I said you want to share about yourself. You want to talk about yourself too. When you talk about recreation, make sure you're not taking over the conversation, okay? For example, if you love soccer and somebody asks you these questions, make sure you don't keep the focus on soccer for the next hour, okay? Make sure that it's a conversation. You're both asking each other questions and, pay attention to the cues. Maybe somebody wants to talk a little bit about something, but not for the whole time, okay? So when you talk about recreation, it's really good, but also pay attention to what you're saying about yourself. All right, so now the last one is D. D stands for dreams, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what questions can we ask about dreams. Okay, so dreams. When I talk about dreams, what I'm really talking about is motivations and goals. What do you want to do in your life? Okay, so again, I am not talking about the dreams you have when you sleep. Usually those don't make the greatest small talk. So these are your goals in life. Okay, so one thing I wanted to say before we get into these questions is small talk can be a great opportunity to learn about other people. Okay, so I recommend smile during small talk because that will make that connection. Listen, instead of being so focused on stress and, oh my God, what if I make a mistake with my English or, oh no, there's a silence. Sometimes it's nice just to focus on what the other person is saying. Learn about the other person, okay? What motivates them? What gets them up in the morning? What is their, what are their dreams? These can be very interesting things to learn about. So smile, listen, and learn. Okay, so when we talk about dreams, You can talk about short-term dreams or long-term dreams. For example, the summer. Any plans for the summer? Are you going anywhere this summer? What are you going to do this summer? So that's kind of a short-term goal or dream. I find people love talking about travel. So I find that when you talk about travel, it can really open up conversation. So if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? What are your top 3 countries to visit? Have you been to any countries before? Is this your first trip? People really like talking about where they want to travel, what they want to see, and what they want to do. It really excites them. You can also talk about if somebody's been talking about a project that has to do with work, maybe they've been talking about their job, maybe they're a student and they've been talking about the TOEFL or university or, a course they're taking, or maybe, maybe there's just somebody who's been making something, somebody who likes to paint and they've been painting, or taking photos of things. You can ask them about their projects. What will you do once you finish this project? What will you do once you finish the IELTS? What will you do once you finish your course? What will you do, once you finish this book? Okay, so asking them about the future is a really good idea for dreams. If somebody talked about how they love watching movies or they love reading books, you can ask them, what do you want to read next? What do you want to watch next? If somebody's online watching a lot of movies, what's next in your list of things to watch? Okay, so talking about people's dreams is a really great way to connect to people, and it will make the conversation more interesting than just talking about the weather. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful. Again, FORDS stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. By knowing this will make you better at small talk, and you won't have to think so much about, oh no, what do I say? Because now you have something to say. You can talk about family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So it's very simple, but it's something that's very powerful. Okay? I want to invite you to come visit our website at www.engvid.com. There you can actually find a quiz where you can practice some of the English in this video, as well as some of the ideas to make sure you really understood what you've just watched. I hope you also subscribe to my channel. We have a lot of great resources there for you on all sorts of different wonderful topics. So until next time, take care and thanks for watching.